traveling this way. How strange the road to love should be, so easy. Can there be a detour ahead? Wake up, slow down before you crash and break your heart. Gullible clown, you fool, you're headed in the wrong direction.
So either there are big openings where the wall goes down,
Can't you see that
and we don't get any Jaguars up here.
Back here. So this arbitrary line on a map doesn't exist for Jaguars. You know, it's not part of the equation. They exist in these massive, massive landscapes. That's how they perceive the world. They get to a top of the mountain and they say, let's try that one. They get to the next top of the mountain, let's try that one. That's how they see the world. And so, you know, by doing this, we are creating so many problems for Jaguars. When they get to Arizona, they find protected areas, large protected areas, full of prey. And it's perfect for them. It's this ideal situation where they can grow up, where they can become these, you know, prime males. And that is the time in their life. Sorry, it went out. But that's the time in their life that's most treacherous. That's when a lot of Jaguars die. Is, you know, when they leave their mother and they're now looking for an area that's safe. But these Jaguars don't. They get here, they're safe, they're protected, they grow up, and they turn into these incredibly beautiful, you know, young males in the prime of their life. And then they go back down into Mexico. Because they're male, you know, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service isn't recognizing them as part of the population.
El Sueño. Steel to sky, but my dreams still fly. You can't stop me. I'll just walk around your monument to fear, your statue of hate. I flee the circumstances you helped to create. Violence, guns, rape.
Just south of us here, we see this border wall with razor wire wrapped around it. That's just evil, the presence of that wire. That was a stunt. Pretty much all the border wall has been a stunt. Sort of activities happen. To me, that is the definition of evil, because it's premeditated. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Well, they know exactly what they're doing. It's nothing but a political platform. But fortunately, it stopped in some very crucial areas, like Sycamore Canyon, California Gulch. There's a 10-mile open gap there now. And what we need to make sure is that that gap does not get filled. We need to make sure that they don't fill any of the gaps. We need to make sure that they don't keep on going eastward through the state of New Mexico and through the Animas Valley and through the Sierra San Luis and all these places that still have open border, meaning no border wall, just vehicle barrier and fencing. So this is really a time to remain vigilant. We're under threat. Educate yourself on where border walls exist, where they don't exist, and we need to protect those places that have not been walled off, because those happen to be some of the most important places in the borderlands. If you look at the critical habitat maps for jaguar, most of those locations didn't get border wall. And the reason why is because they're in mountainous areas, more difficult terrain, and they were trying to get the low-hanging fruit to build as much wall as they could as easily as possible.
I wanted to share a really incredible success story. So just a few weeks, there was that awful container wall, Ducey's horrible container shipment wall through the San Rafael Valley that so many of you worked so hard to fight, and it came down. And just a few weeks later, a new Jaguar came in right there.
I would like to be optimistic about that, but let me tell you the lay of the land here. There's a law called the Real ID Act of 2005, which was enacted in 2005, and it was Congress's worst moment, where they allowed the Secretary of Homeland Security, an unelected, politically appointed official, the power to waive all laws for the construction of border walls. That means that the Endangered Species Act doesn't apply, the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, the Wilderness Act, you name it. Every act that is your favorite environmental or cultural protection act has been waived for construction of these barriers.
It is my great good fortune to introduce to you my friend and mentor, Kate Scott.
This is a story from 2 years ago when comrades that are with us in the audience. We made noise. We showed up. We stood tall. We spoke truth to power because we have the power. We did not want to accept this reality. This need not have ever happened. Erick, Meza, myself, and Christy Brun, who's here, we went with 9 others, and we stood, and we stopped them, and we continued to stop them. These are my neighbors, people that just showed up. They saw us headed to the area, and we said we were protesting. They said, we're coming with you. And then more came. We were 200 strong. We stayed 13 days. That's a sacred number. And then we knew we had won. This is our newest Jaguar. Oshad Lukudam. He's been with us. He will be with us. We have to be there for him so the others can come. Because Jaguars were here first. They are our heritage to protect. Oh! We do not have to accept this reality. It was not in our refuges 6, 7 years ago. We did not have the hideous wall. It does not have to be there. So that is a message. They can fall. We stood for her. We knew we couldn't stop it, but we wanted to speak to her and tell her. And so many came. My dear friend Will. That's him in the picture playing his drum that is made from the clay. And he's serenading the prayer flags that we made that day. So we salute the river with these prayer flags. The yellow-billed cuckoo is also known as the rain bird because they do this little clucking sound, and if you have to listen really carefully. And they only do it a couple of times, and then you know it will rain. And the beaver, we have to honor the beaver. They create beautiful ecosystems wherever they are, and they can't get through the wall either. One of my beaver friends told me that the parents could be separated from the little families. So you have to think of all the animals that are affected, and the heron in the river. I know you know this memory. Amber Ortega and Nellie Jo David and many tried. We wanted to honor what had happened on the other side of our state. We were all trying, and we have to keep trying, because we do not need this wall of hate. I'm running. I see the wall there. I'm running. Where's the water? Let's keep running. We used to go this way. There was no wall. How far can we run? I need water. I need food. Ah.
Jaguar Rising. Beyond borders, the moon dances along sun-washed mountains. River sings its winding path among wild flowers and wilder spirits. Behind borders, nature sings in silence to deaf ears, her colors camouflaged to closed eyes. While in silence, nature speaks loudest while it waits for the world to listen.
People have come here for 16,000 years to drink groundwater from the last ice age, and in all that time, no one has claimed to own you. Pupfish wriggle in the trickle that feeds you, and a mud turtle slumbers deep in your bank to the dream-time rhythm of your prehistoric percolation. Black-shelled snails smaller than a sesame seed who've lived here since before the dinosaurs and survived multiple mass extinctions, ink like indelible periods the brink beyond which nothing drinks. Now those who have never lived here plan to drain you, to mix concrete and tamp down construction dust, for a monument to futility in the middle of the desert. May they wake in the middle of the night and hear all the whispered wisdom they should be listening to before the whisperers are gone. May they learn, though it's mocked in this age of incessant distraction, that there's something to be said for simply sitting still in the shade of an ancient cottonwood and reflecting. Between never and forever, there must be earth and sky, and water for all things that live and die and live again. That which is whole cannot be divided.
A jaguar has to pioneer a trail northward to the U.S., as most of the species is exclusive to our southern border. The largest wild cat of the Americas is indigenous to various landscapes. She can melt into the shadows of a Belizean jungle. He can walk across the white sands of a Costa Rican beach. She can swim across bodies of water like the Bavispe River in northern Mexico. He can walk under the cool pine canopy found in the Sierra Madre Occidental, then dip into a sycamore and cottonwood-lined riparian corridor before venturing farther, coming to beaver dam streams and lush grasslands of northern Sonora on Cuenca, Los Ojos, and decide to linger as two jaguars currently are. Or head west and pad along ancient trading routes through oak-studded Arizona sky islands like the jaguar dubbed Sombra, or maneuver through prickly pear cacti and mesquite trees like El Jefe, or walk among fallen leaves in the evening chorus of crickets like Cochise, or the jaguar could follow a fellow refugee's trail past the iconic saguaro cactus hidden by the night sky that the Maya believed the animal's fur represented, only to stop, barricaded from his path forward in search of a new place to call home by a border wall.
Let's know their stories of the nations. I'd like to say their names with me. A little call and response. It's a test to see if you know what we showed you and you and you. Jaguar, Sonoran pronghorn, ocelot, mule deer, bear, desert big horn sheep, not bad. I'll take him on the road. Ha, 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 ha. Yellow-billed cuckoo. Sonoran mud turtle. Desert tortoise. Ooh-wee, I like that. Oh. One that hasn't got a prayer flag yet. Sonora tiger salamander. Nice. Here, see, protect, preserve of the nations. Visit out, walled out, blocked, battered, bruised from family, water, shelter, and food. Open the wall, stave off extinction. Time to heal our ailing nation. Open the wall, stave off extinction. Use your voices with distinction, deliberation, pronunciation. Yes. So, say, jaguar. Mexican gray wolf. Sonoran pronghorn. Ocelot. Desert big horn sheep. Saguaro, Hashan. Yellow-billed cuckoo. Cactus ferruginous pygmy owl. Oh, yes.
My birth mother, Sonora, made the journey north from Mexico, crossing a border that in those years was wide open. She was seized in the Chiricahua Mountains by the very agencies responsible for her recovery. Her journey interrupted, placed into captive bondage, she never saw freedom again. I was placed in the den at 2 weeks old, transferred from the captive breeding program to be raised in the wild. My early life was happy, roughhousing with my littermates, nurtured by my family, taught to survive. As I left childhood behind, I felt the urge to leave my pack, find my own mate, and find my own territory. I headed east. You know me as Mr. Football. Driven by the genetic memories passed on by my mother Sonora, I left the mountains, the only home I had ever known, and entered the high desert grasslands. Loping in the open range, I headed south, following the wildlife corridors my ancestors have traveled for thousands of years. I approached your border. But what was this? I was blocked. I stared at a wall, a steel 30 feet high, with a gap between the bollards that could barely fit my muzzle through. Confused, I wandered westward along this wall, looking, probing, searching for an opening large enough to allow my passage. I rode for 5 days and 23 miles. I could not continue. I needed food, but most of all, I needed water. Giving up, I returned north. I live now in the mountains of New Mexico, a three-legged wolf, the victim of a gunshot wound, the victim of a culture of intolerance. I am wolf. Like you, I have an inherent right to exist.
I'd like to welcome everyone, but with what's standing behind me, it's hard to use the word welcome. It's anything but welcoming here. My name is Strohacker, and I'm an eco-political artist. I was coined an eco-political artist actually in 2017 after I did my first series of border wall projections in Douglas and Agua Prieta. Those projections, if anyone is familiar with them from some of the images for this event or were at the event, those projections were uninhibited. They were uninhibited by the razor wire. They were uninhibited by the high pressure sodium lighting. They were striking, they were vivid, they were very crisp. But here tonight, we're telling a different story. We see an infinitely more complex image. We see the animals competing with light and blade as our eyes attempt to make sense of each animal. We want to remember that this moment isn't necessarily about beauty or perfection, but specifically dismay, pain, trouble, and a weary and long road ahead as we look forward to the tearing down of this particular construct here and everywhere else it migrates to. The further disintegration of the image reflects heavily of the reality of space. Tonight, the heavily militarized border wall disintegrates art, But every day this wall disintegrates cultures, relationships, habitats, and migration corridors. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it.